Yo guys, what's up and hope you're having a great day. Today I want to talk about the 4th edition of the Muerto times that we got yesterday. If you didn't know, this is a paper the developers release every week to show us their progress in what bugs they are fixing and what stuff they're working on right now. They sort everything in 3 categories. Number 1, fix and testing. Number 2, under investigation. And number 3, needs more information. So first I'm going to start with the fixes and testing. Alright, stun immunity period for family. As you'll know, we have a big problem with the family getting chain stunned and stabbed a lot of times without the chance of escaping that stun, especially the really annoying door slamming, and it looks like they got a fix and testing for this problem. So it looks like they are testing to implement some sort of immunity period after a family member has been stabbed or stunned so that they cannot be stunned again for a couple of seconds. So I'm really excited to see what they are doing in the upcoming patch. And I think this is going to be really good for the game. Let's see how they're going to implement it and what are the details of this fix in particular. So let's talk about the door slamming for a bit. The door slamming is a huge problem if it becomes a chain stun. So we got this perk for the victims which is called Tick One Door. And with this perk, basically the stun takes so long that by the time the family member recovers, they can be stunned again. So the door slamming is not necessarily the biggest problem. Just for itself, I think it's fine and it should stay in the game, definitely. Because it's one of the few ways the victims can fight back at the family. But it has to be tweaked in a way that it cannot be abused for bullying the family members and stun locking them for minutes on end. So they would either have to really nerf the perk Tick One Door to the point where it's basically useless, or they can remove it altogether. Or maybe the fix that they're going to implement is already countering this perk so that it cannot be used as a chain stun. So either way, let's see what they're going to do. Alright, next we got hitchhiker traps, and what they probably mean by that is the game breaking bug where when you place a trap as hitchhiker at the top of the ladder, once the victim gets snared in that trap, they will now become interaction locked. This means they cannot jump down wells, they cannot interact with objects. The only thing they can do is go back down this ladder. If they go back down the ladder immediately, then the bug is fixed. But if they do not go back down the ladder, and for example they run and jump down in a well or try to use a crawl space, it will not work. And when they jump down a well, they will get stuck in the textures and will die eventually. So this is a really game-breaking bug. And it's really nice to see that by the next week, this is probably fixed. Next, the Agitator perk values, perk Agitator. So this perk is really overpowered at the moment. Right now, when you stab Grandpa and you have this perk on level 3, Grandpa's levels will be reduced by 4, and this is crazy. This is way too high, because it takes so long to feed Grandpa to the max level, and it only takes a couple seconds for them to stab him. Also, you cannot interrupt the stabbing. Even if you hit the victims, they're still gonna stab him. So this perk basically made feeding Grandpa completely useless. That's why a lot of high-level families don't even bother with feeding him at all. So the perk Agitator really needs a nerf. They're saying they're changing the perk values, and maybe they'll reduce the maximum number of levels to 2 instead of 4. And to balance that out, maybe they will change the duration until Grandpa wakes up again. So for example, if now he's disabled for like 10 seconds, maybe this perk will make it so he's gonna be disabled for 20 seconds or 30 seconds. And this way the perk would be more balanced. So this is also a really needed change, and I'm really happy that they are fixing that. And if you don't want to miss any more updates on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. Next section is under investigation. Number 1 is perk balancing. So there are several perks in the game, on family as also on victim side, that are really strong and you can say a little overpowered, which is for example the family perk Scout, which is super viable and really strong on every family member. With this perk you can do crazy speed builds. What it does, it enhances the movement speed by 15% while reducing damage. Maybe they will change it so that the damage reduction will be higher. Another really overpowered perk is the victim perk, which is called Choosing Flight. This perk fully recovers a full stamina bar of your character after you run out of stamina. And this can happen up to 3 times. So essentially, when you're making a big run, you're gonna have 4 bars of stamina and the family will never catch you. This definitely needs to be tuned down a little bit. So let's see on which perks the developers will do balancing changes in the future. Then we got gas station map improvements, and by that I hope they're talking about the gas station secret door, which is the cheat exit, which is not powered by the generator, and this has been a problem forever. I don't know why it's so hard to fix that, or why they do not want to fix it yet, but it looks like they know it's a problem, and in my opinion they could just patch it really quickly and just make it so you cannot interact with the door anymore. You can basically keep the rooms as a hiding space, but the door will be locked and you cannot open it. This would completely fix the whole situation. Or alternatively, they could connect this door to the generator so that they cannot leave just by unlocking the door. Next point is stealth balancing. So this game was intended to be played stealthy. Right now we are being rewarded with a lot of XP for an aggressive playstyle. And you get rewarded for that, because the people that are the loudest and are the fastest and do the most stuff, like stabbing grandpa, stabbing the family members, they are getting the most XP right now. You have the rushing meter, everyone makes a lot of noise, everyone is rushing everything, but the game should not be this way. Instead, stealth should be more rewarding. So maybe they could implement things like getting points when you hide from the family, for example, staying close to the family members without getting hit or anything like that. So let's see what they are trying to come up with to change this situation right now that we have. In the needs more info category, they're talking about minigame issues, lockpicking, etc. I believe by that they mean the bug where you sometimes get stuck in a lockpicking animation, or you have the lockpicking animation on your screen and it won't go away. And of course there's a lot of other stuff, like locked out of interactions sometimes. When you try to open a door or interact with something, it won't work. Right, and now I'm going to quickly go over some of the major issues that we have right now that are not addressed yet. For example, on the family side, which is a huge problem right now, is that there's a big discrepancy between family XP gain and victim XP gain. The family really struggles in gaining a lot of XP. And the victims, on the other hand, they get a ton of XP for everything. So when you're trying to level up the family members, it can be a real pain. So they should up the values of the family XP gain, like for getting kills, and they should also add way more ways for the family to gain XP. It would be great to have some more ways to gain experience, for example by hitting a victim, by finding a victim, destroying doors, and there's a lot of little stuff that the family does which doesn't give any XP at all, and this really needs to be addressed. Another big bug on the victim side, and I believe it happens every time you use it, is the fuse box. Once you open the basement exit with the fuse box, then it's really weird. You cannot turn around, you're basically stuck and cannot really move around. Yeah, the only way to fix this is to just wait for a couple seconds, or like to wait for 1 minute. I don't know how long the time is. And I also tried going in the menu, like pressing escape a couple of times, and that fixes it well. But man, if you're trying to turn on that fuse box and then you can't move, you're gonna be dead. And that's really frustrating. Also yesterday I got bugged into the wall while I was executing a victim. So Hitchhiker moved in the wall while executing, and then he was stuck in the wall and I couldn't get out of the freaking wall. And also we got this big problem with the grandpa cutscene. So when you're playing Leatherface and you're revving your chainsaw and then the grandpa waking up cutscene comes, your chainsaw's probably gonna overheat. And this is extremely frustrating because you cannot avoid it. Also there's a lot of different stuff that happens during this cutscene. So interactions that you start before the cutscene, they will continue to go on while the cutscene is active. So they need to change it so that while the cutscene is active, none of those interactions like revving the chainsaw, doing objectives, turning on the battery, none of that should continue. Or just remove this annoying cutscene altogether and just make it so like a text pop up in the top of the screen. You don't have to block the whole screen with this cutscene. This is really stupid in my opinion. And of course we got the problem with getting stuck on certain objects, or like getting stuck everywhere on the map. I got stuck a lot of times playing the family, but this doesn't happen so often and it's more on the smaller side of the bugs. And then we got a lot of different smaller bugs as well that I'm not going to mention. So these are the biggest issues that I hope they will fix in the future as soon as possible. So once we get the actual patch notes for the upcoming patch in a couple of days, I will make an in-depth video for that as well, so stay tuned for that. Alright, that's it for me today. If you enjoyed the video, you know what to do, smash the like button. Also subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Crashing, learn,